Hello and welcome to another episode of Boomer's Banquet. Gandang umaga po, Bob Navales here. Kasama si Teddy Perenya and later George Boone. And we're sprinkling love all over. Isang bisita natin na espesyal na nagkalat ng pag-ibig sa buong mundo mula nung lumitaw siya. At ngayon, pag-ibig sa bansa ang kanyang pinaninindigan at sasama tayo sa kanya ngayon. Magandang umaga muna sa iyo, Ted, bago natin ipakilala ang ating panauhin. Ted.
Okay, a bio-fresh morning to all. Plus our shirt from Design Makati. Sabi nga ni Bob, talagang yote amo, iniibig kita, islibidis ang umaga natin ngayon.
Dadagdagan ko pa, hindi kasi kasama Korean nun saranghe.
Okay, saranghe. Yung sinasabi ni Inday Badiday, ano ba yung sinasabi?
Saranghamed abo, I love you bo.
Saranghamed abo, yun.
Hindi alam ng mga tao na Korean pala yun.
Okay.
And we introduce walang iba kundi ang nagpaawit sa buong mundo sa pamamagitan ng kanyang mga tinig at nagpaiyak sa marami sa mga pinaluha niya sa mga jukebox hits niya. Especially yung isa na babanggitin natin mamaya. But first, let's introduce Miss Leah Navarro. Magandang araw sa iyo, Madam.
Good morning, Bob. Good morning, Teddy. Magandang umaga sa lahat ng nakikinig at nanonood sa ating Boomer's Banquet. Maano yung buffet natin yata ngayon, mga kaibigan. Yes, I'm happy to be here. Maraming salamat sa imbitasyon.
And we're just honored to have you with us. At buti na lang, pumayag ka for taking time out from your busy schedule para mahiram na.
Suki na kayo.
Oh yeah, thank you. Dahil nga si Teddy na-guest na rin si Miss Leah dun sa kanyang Ox na programa. And probably George will join us later dahil fan din siya. Solid fan niyo rin.
Looking forward.
Yeah, tsaka Bob, ang isa pang dapat banggitin, di ba nasa Spotify tayo, hindi tayo nakikita doon eh. Talagang na-maintain ni Miss Leah yung ningning ng kanyang itsura.
By the magic of makeup.
Wala. Ako kahit wala eh.
Alam nyo, iniisip ko. Pero hindi halata. Parang 10 years younger at least.
Ay, ang bait mo siya. Huwag ka na, Teddy. Okay na tayo.
To paraphrase one of Leah's song titles nung dati. Ganun lang ako, ligaw tingin.
That's one of the songs na hindi ko na kayang kantahin. Kasi medyo weird. Pag senior ka na, medyo weird.
Okay. Gets namin.
Meron pa siyang pahawig nun, yung patingin-tingin lamang ba? Di ba?
Yes.
Disco song yun.
Tama. Disco time kasi tayo nun eh. That was the era of disco, and disco OPM was very popular nung time.
Kaya babalikan natin yung konting nakaraan lang ni Leah. Ayaw niya kasi tinatawag ko ma'am pero hindi ako sanay. But anyway.
No, thank you very much.
Masanay ka.
Yes. First name basis na tayo. So, alam mo, to be quite honest, Bob and Teddy, nung bumalik ako dito nung late 90s, usong-uso nun yung pagkabit nung Mr. Yung mga ganyan, di ba? I know that it's because we are a very respectful people, di ba?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pero pag magkakilala na kayo, 'di ba? I mean, we can drop that, 'di ba? And I think kasi they are trying to put their, let's say now, like the guest, 'di ba, on a pedestal or something like that. And even if I understand it, I appreciate it. We are all still people. We are all just people, and now we are friends. So let's keep it that way.
So hindi na pedestal. Sa Apple box na lang kita ipapatong para mas mataas.
Thank you very much.
Pero
Anyway, going back.
matangkad si Leah.
Ay, oo.
Hindi
matangkad.
kailangan ng Apple box.
Oo.
Soapbox.
Mas matangkad yata siya kay Haji eh. No?
Ay,
Pareho naman kami ng
pareho.
height.
Okay.
Ni Haj. Oo naman. Oo naman. At mabait yan si Haji.
Oo.
And we're making references to those days kasi nga yung panahon na yun yung nag-usbong lahat ng magagalingang mga Filipino artists at nabago totally yung kultura natin. And Leah was part of that,
Yes.
and we're just honored to have her with us.
Thank
Leah,
you.
balikan natin yung simula.
Yeah.
Dahil alam natin, pedigree na napag-usapan na rin natin previously. Pedigree mo, si Leah Navarro, who ang konti lang na alam ko sa kanya, napapanood ko siya sa TV,
Yeah.
humming along to the jazz songs na madalas kinakanta niya. And where's Jimmy Navarro, whom I've never seen on TV, yung pala executive siya.
Yes.
Yung pala.
Tama. My parents, they met nung time ng CBN radio. I think that was the radio station that I forget who owned it, but I think Henny Lopez had something, yung may connection yata noon CBN.
Communical broadcasting.
Dad ko was yung spinner, nagsispinner. Kaya magaling siya talaga sa pagpili ng mga kanta to go with the mga drama, ang mga newscast, yung mga ganon, no? That was how he started. Tapos mami ko, host din ng isang radio show. Pero jazz singer, tama ka Bob, jazz singer mami ko, kumakanta siya kasama ng sa UP, yung UP Jazz Ensemble. Di ba nag-change yan every few years because of who would, part of that, no? So, my mom was a singer, my dad was in radio, and then they met mga 19 whatever. Tapos they got married. At tapos dalawa kaming magkapatid. I'm the eldest. Tapos yung sister ko si Ariane, who passed away in 2015.
Sorry.
That was just the two of us. Thank you so much. But she was the more musical. But music was really part of our back, our family. It was a foundation. Music was the foundation. We loved to listen to it. Tapos of course, syempre yung friends ng parents ko. Pag may mga party, nandun yung mga jazz greats, they will play. Tapos later on, as we grew older, and my mother had TV shows, yung ganon, yung mga grupo na are now considered, for example, very good composer who composed most of my songs, si Nonong Pedero, who was part of the Gentle Rain, together with Boy Camara, ganyan. Magbarkada yan ng mami ko. So, yes, I grew up in a music-filled atmosphere. We have, all of us have a soundtrack, di ba, ng lives natin. So, my soundtrack goes way, way back.
Oh yeah, what was it? Anong soundtrack?
Well, naalala ko yung first na favorite song ko as a 2-year-old was Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Mataas.
I don't know why.
As in
Pero
taas na
yeah,
tuwan.
it's like, baka, yeah, I like that song. I don't know. I don't understand why. And then as I grew older, syempre Beatles.
Okay.
Nung
60s.
tapos, yes, yung 60s, Beatles yan, Hard Day's Night, Eleanor Rigby, and then, of course, songs that my mother would play sa stereo player namin noon. Yung, di ba yung naalala ninyo yung malaki, tapos yung...
May baffle.
Anong meron doon? I was introduced to Chicago, tapos Jose Feliciano, tapos there was the time yung Sergio Mendes and Brazil 66. And it's a whole mix, no, of songs. But of course, there was always the jazz, was always there. Although I never became a jazz singer kasi um, I don't think I had the gift. No? Gift yun eh. We have some extremely good jazz singers who know, their ears are so sharp, no? Na naririnig nila lahat ng nota. No, that's why magaling talaga sila they say when they go out, meaning yung nag-a-adlib na sila, yan yung term nun, when they go out tapos nakakabalik sila sa body ng kanta, yung pag-adlib na yan, that's a gift. Yeah.
Hindi madali yan eh. Hindi madali.
Hindi siya madali.
Si Sir Jimmy, anong type naman ng music yung mas type niya?
Oh, Dad liked all kinds of music, but because he was a spinner, you have to know all, no?
Oh, yes.
You have to know all. But then eventually hindi na siya because he became an executive. He was one of the first executives ng ABS-CBN. So after that, production na yung program direction, production, yun ang naging focus. But of course, he loved music. All kinds. It's very difficult for me.
Nakatuntong ka sa ABS-CBN studios sa Ross.
Adwana.
Oh, okay. And then
Adwana, nawala na yung picture pero may picture kami. Dinala kami doon ng daddy ko sa isang studio. Kami ni Ariane, the two of us. And then I distinctly remember yung photo pero photos, they disappear. You can't find them na. Pero yes, and na-meet namin, of course, si Henny Lopez when we were kids.
Yeah.
Tsaka may mga company, di ba? Company Christmas party, mga ganon. So we would gather for the holidays. So yung mga kahenerasyon ng mga magulang ko nandun from Harry Gasser, si Frankie Evangelista, hindi ko na maalala
Ben
yung...
Aniceto.
Oh, well, Tito Ben, yes. Who apparently is still around, I hope.
Yeah.
He's still around. Ben and ang dami.
Puro haligi yan.
Oo.
Puro haligi na yan.
Well, yes. Tama. And it was a good time to be, we are blessed na we are all living in this time between generations kasi ang ka-age natin, nagsaspan tayo ng several generations. Alam natin kung anong nangyayari ng 50s, 60s, all the way up to now. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yun nga lang, yung memory mo minsan
Kaya
na maalala.
Kaya sinusulat na lang eh.
Tama. Sayang hindi ko sinulat.
Baka hindi maniwala yung mga bata sa kwento kung kwento lang natin.
Sarap
well, especially now. Yes, Ted.
Nagbabalik tanaw tayo. Di ba?
Kailangan, importante kasi ang history. Kailangan alam natin kung ano ang nangyari.
Wala naman nag-revise ng history ng broadcasting sa Pilipinas. O kaya yung music industry.
Meron lang yung blurred.
Tama si Bob, biniblur lang nila. Oo.
hindi malinaw yung documentation eh. Kasi
saka hindi nila mabura o ma-deny, no? Na broadcast was one of the richest industries here, the most, creative in any part of the world, no? Gusto kong, proud ako na yung mga nakita natin nung time na yon, from film to TV in the 50s. I don't know what happened in the 40s. I'm not so then, but the movies, the television shows, they were world class.
Yeah.
Believe ako doon, no? We had great actors, singers. We had wonderful composers. We had all kinds, di ba, of music. You had the kundiman, di ba? That was yung roots ng kundiman, yun ang naging ballads natin sa OPM. Di ba? Tapos, of course, yung influensya ng rock and roll. No? So you have Eddie Peregrina, Who else were the
Victor
big
Wood.
ones at that time?
Victor Wood.
Later na si Victor Wood. Alam mo, mami
Ted.
ko, mommy became a director for MBC, Manila Broadcasting, Channel 11.
Yes.
Elizalde.
Nung time ni Victor Wood, siya ang director ng TV show ni Victor Wood, yung Knock on Wood.
Oh,
Siya yung director. Tapos pati yung TV show ni Tirso Cruz III, ni Pip. Yung, what was the title of it?
Ang daming title nung kay Pip eh. Ito kaya, ano kaya? Pip
No, he had a,
Dimension.
not, kasi
Pip
Knock on Wood.
Pwede.
Hindi, yung, ang dami. He had a weekly TV show. Mami ko rin ang nag-direct niya.
Ay, yun ang maraming hindi nakakaalam katulad ako na nag-behind the camera din pala si Miss Nelda.
Yes! And she was a
Akala
very
natin,
good director.
In front lang siya.
On front, no, she loved being in the back of the camera at, directing. She produced those shows. Tapos, pero nagla-live pa rin siya nung Oras ng Ligaya.
Okay.
Oscar Obligacion.
Eddie San Jose.
MBC yun.
Hindi, yung original yata, The Big Show, yun yata nasa MBC.
Meron.
Oo. Tapos nung nasa ABS, Oras ng Ligaya na sila.
No. Oras ng Ligaya is MBC.
No. ABS.
Are we ABS? Okay.
ABS.
Sabi ko na, dapat sinulat niya pareho eh.
The Big Show yata.
Dapat sinulat niya talaga eh.
Pero yung sigurado ako na ABS-CBN, yung student canteen.
Yeah.
Original cast
Radio
ang mami
program.
ko.
Oo.
It was a radio program that became a TV program. So, mami ko, si Tita Laila Benitez, Tito Bobby Ledesma,
Pepe.
si Tito Eddie Ilarde, and Tito Pepe Pimentel.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, they're all
Student
Tito and Tita to me. Yes.
Di ba? Ganun yun eh. Pero naganda nga talaga eh. This generation yun, no? Yung nung nasimulan. Well, kasama na ako. Na-witness natin sila and we get to meet them somehow eh. No? Although larger than life itong mga to, ako bilang ordinaryong manonood lang, pag nakita mo sila sa labas, wow, ang lalaki. Diba? Parang
Because tsaka na-notice mo, of that generation, talagang may ibang dating sila, di ba? Bigatin ang dating nila, but they don't mean it, di ba? Hindi naman sila mayabang or ano, pero nakikita mo na yung aura nila iba. Iba. And,
nakapunta ka rin ba sa studio ng MBC, yung nasa top
yeah,
corner Kalaw? Doon ba? Tama ba?
I think so, yes.
Yung masagana, naging masagana Telemart.
Yeah.
Naging Telemart.
Oo.
Ngayon, wala na.
Leah, nung syempre, bago ka ma-launch, no? You were probably fangirling, the term is fangirling to some celebrity. Sino ang masasabi mong nag-fangirl ka nung bago ka pumasok sa showbiz mismo?
Oh my gosh. That's a hard, medyo
Pero siya ang kaibahan, Bob.
Mahirap
siya expose sa actual.
Oh, di lalo na, namimilipit siya sa harap ng
Siyempre, yung mga idols ko noon, yung mga kaibigan ng mami ko, sila Tita Pilita Corrales. I don't know if you remember Diana Cruz. She was very good. The aunt of Pip, no? Yung tita ni Pip. Very good jazz singer. Tapos, yung Jonko Brothers, na for me, ang galing-galing talaga nilang mag-harmony. Tapos, ang dami. It's very hard to say na, fan ako naman of all of them. Okay?
Yung Leah, just to be specific about it, kanino yung poster na isasabit mo sa kwarto mo nung panahon na yun?
Wow. Beatles talaga.
Beatles.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
Nandun ka ba sa Nandun ka ba sa Rizal? Nung nag-concert?
No, I was too young.
No.
Bata pa yun.
Bata ka pa.
Ano yan, 1966?
87 o 8.
66 yun eh.
66. I was 9 years old.
9 years old.
Yeah. So,
Madudurog
hindi
siya,
kami
no?
allowed. Oo, hindi kami allowed. Tapos, nakita lang namin sa newspapers, di ba, syempre, yung consolation lang namin, meron yung kami ng sister ko, meron kaming yung naalala ninyo yung record player na portable, na maliit na parang briefcase, na
Yes.
iba't ibang kulay, di ba?
Oo.
Tapos the baterya, yung size D na battery. So meron
Ubus ka
kami
agad yun.
ganon. Oo nga. Kasi ipe-play namin yung Beatles record. Kasi wala si Mami, so hindi na namin maano yung malaking stereo. So, doon kami nagpe-play kasama ng yung dalawa kong pinsan na lalaki. Kasi neighbors kami. Ayun, we will sing to it, yung ganon, yung sasabayan namin. Masaya. So, kami kasi malakas talaga yung influensya ng Beatles nung time na yun. Tapos, hindi ako masyadong ma-Rolling Stones kasi hindi ako nagwapuhan kay
Sa Jagger.
O, sino
Mick
pinaka-pogi?
Jagger.
Sino pinaka-pogi
Yung
sa
crush
Beatles?
ko noon sa Beatles, syempre lahat ng girls gusto nila si Paul McCartney, di ba? So,
Okay.
ako, syempre kasama ako doon. Pero, crush ko rin si George Harrison.
Oh, yun. Okay.
Tapos nung lumabas yung isang napaka-favorite song ko na Here Comes the Sun, mas pa. Diba? Mas pa. And I don't know kung nakita ninyo yung documentary na lumabas recently, no, about the Beatles, yung wow. See? Pag senior ka
Which
na
one?
talaga.
Beatles ba?
Yeah,
Or
the
George
Beatles documentary by Peter Jackson. Yung
that one.
gumawa
Yung
ng
Let It
Lord
Be,
of the
yung
Rings.
Get
Yeah,
Back.
that one. Yeah, Get Back. The Get Back,
Yeah.
Napaka
Leah, meron pa
ganda
palang
nun.
dapat
Oh.
gawin tayong docu. Ang title
Ano?
din, Here Comes the Sun. Of
No, I think the title should be changed to Goodbye to the Sun of
Okay. Better.
Okay, going back, yung sa Get Back, you were going to mention
Yes,
about some point there.
Yung 60s yun eh. Nung
16 na, well, yeah,
that
69.
was 69, right? That was really yung a very rich time nung marami, hindi lang yung Beatles, but maraming mga batang mga kompositor dito sa Pilipinas na gumagawa na ng sarili nilang mga kanta, di ba? And they served as inspiration. So, lahat ng yung mga friends ko na nagte-text sa akin na, have you watched Get Back? No? Galing talaga ng documentary about the big ganyan. Puro matatanda. Puro number one doon, si Jim Paredes. Yan. na napaka-idol nila. Yan.
Yeah.
So,
Kala ko sasabihin mo napakatanda. Sorry, Jim.
Senior lang si Jim ng
nabanggit mo
konti.
si Jim. Yeah, nabanggit mo si Jim. Uwi daw siya sa April.
Yes.
Kasama daw siya sa inyo, sa
You have to join the sorties.
Tama.
Yes.
Speaking of sorties, may sortie kami bukas. First time kaming dalawa ni Mitch Valdez at si Bayang Barrios sa Cavite. Tatlo pala kami.
Mga Caviteños.
Yes. Yung
kaya lang,
pamilya
sa mga
ng
manonood nito, tapos na yon. Pero makikita nyo na lang yung mga picture na maraming.
Yes. Pero I'm sure, pag nakita na niyo yung mga pictures, makikita nyo talaga ang saya-saya namin. Of course, kumanta kami. Tatlo kami, si Mitch, si Bayan Barrios, tapos ako, na may marami, I think kasama yata yung River Maya.
Yes.
May medley kayo? Parang may
so
medley.
Baka hindi. Baka mag-front act na lang kami mga Thunders.
Okay.
Pero ang maganda doon, Leah, yung yung mga sumasabay sa inyo, yung mga kumakanta, masaya rin. 'Di ba? Hindi nag-aabang ng pagkain o ng sweldo.
No, wala.
Kasi may iba, parang may nagpe-perform doon, patay-patayan na doon sa stage pagdating doon sa baba, parang nanonood nga ng patay. Kasi
Oo nga, na-notice ko 'yun. Na hindi sila masyadong masaya. Kala mo, nasa punerarya.
Yun ang
Bakit kaya, no?
Parang solemn yung
Oo, masyadong quiet, masyadong
Samantalang sa inyo, very alive,
May
enthusiastic.
nakita ko nga na may kumakanta na, hindi kita malilimutan. Ganyan, di ba? Pinapa nila yung camera. Na parang, wow, sinong namatay? No? Kami naman sa kabila, ang saya-saya.
Oo nga.
Always
Yeah.
dancing,
Multi-gener-
always happy.
Oo.
Tsaka multi-generational yung nandun.
Tama. From young to
Gets
not
nung
so
bata yung
young,
matanda yung bata.
dapat. Well, that's the way you bridge the gap of the generation.
Yes.
Well, sana nga talaga mag-rub off tsaka lumagana palalo. At saka the message should be heard very clearly.
Well,
Mamaya kung may oras tayo, maraming kwento
yes,
si Leah dyan.
tungkol sa
Tungkol sa mahalagang event sa May 9.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Well,
Well,
yan ang the biggest, that's the biggest and most important event of our generation,
Oo.
I believe. And more than our generation, the newer one, and the one that comes after us. Kasi
Mas
this is
importante
the
yan.
fight of our lives. Tama.
Correct.
Yes. And then we will have songs na soundtrack na yan to that time, no? I don't know all the titles, I don't know all the pero ang dami-daming mga kantang lumalabas ngayon kung hindi siya adapted na yung melody tapos may mga bagong lyrics. Ang kagandahan nito people are being very creative, no? Dinadaan nila sa music yung mga advokasya nila, di ba?
Yeah.
Ang ganda nun. It happened before. Nung time ng EDSA, bago mag-EDSA 1986, ganun din, no? Maraming mga musiko na gumawa ng iba't ibang mga kanta. Pero at that time, mas patago pa yung mga lyrics, di ba? Yung mga may double meaning, kailangan mong anuhin yung lyrics talaga, basahin yung lyrics para makuha mo talaga kung ano ang gustong sabihin nung manunulat, di ba? And I think that's happening now, and that happened before. So I don't know, for example, I don't know kung yun talaga yung aim na ni Tess, ni Sampaguita, no? Sa banda nila, yung No Si Balasi.
Sino ba sila?
Sino ba sila? Di ba? And
Yes.
this was, all these songs that were being composed, whether sa Metropop or outside of Metropop, kasi nag-start nung time sa martial law yung Metropop, di ba?
Yeah.
I will digress a little. Yung rason kung bakit ginawa nila front and center ang development ng arts and culture nung time nun is kasi wais sila wais yung diktador at yung mga asawa. Kasi kapag dinistract mo yung mga tao, now you distract them with songs, with music, with shows, with awards, with yung mga ganon, no? Yung malilimutan nila yung sitwasyon nila, yung tunay na sitwasyon nila. So, music and culture and art became the opium of the masses.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Na-romanticize yung iba yung
Yes.
buong sitwasyon.
But they didn't realize that may ways around this na the musicians and the composers ng time na yon, marunong talaga sila gumawa ng subliminal messaging na kahit mismo si Imelda kumakanta, hindi niya alam yung meaning ng kanta. Okay.
I remember Leah nung guest namin si Celeste dito.
Yes.
Tsaka nabanggit din ni Nono yun Tinasabi niya, alam mo, merong gustong sabihin yung saranggola ni Pepe, sabi ni Teddy. Pinatanong namin kay Celeste. Tapos, ayan yung may gawa, yung Nonoy Gallardo, tanong nyo. Sabi niya. Naku, may bago ng matandang bingi ngayon, sabi ni Nonoy.
Matandang bingi.
Correct. Tama. Correct. Sila yung lutang, di ba?
Yeah. Going back. Sige, dun sa kwento.
Yeah. Well, yes. So, that's true. They had music like that, or one of my favorite Celeste Legaspi songs that Nonay wrote is Tuliro. No? So, that can also mean I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. What am I seeing? Di ba? Yun ang, many of what was considered pop songs nung time na yon were actually under all of that were actually like protest songs, di ba?
May
Or
messages.
or Mike Hanopol's Jeprox, Lucky Salayaw, Jeprox, di ba? These are
Ayun,
all
it's laki sa
commentaries.
nakaw.
Correct.
Laki sa nakaw.
I know. And then we took advantage kaming mga musiko.
Artist.
We took advantage of yung time na yon. Sige, you want us to, do songs, make people happy? So, sure, why not, right? We didn't have to like them, but we took advantage. And I think it really helped, no? So you had the rise of big stars and big bands nung time na yon. Into the 70s, into the 80s, di ba? Just before 1986. Ang dami-dami. Yeah, that was like you said, Bob, this is when OPM blossomed. That was when the term was coined, no? Original Filipino music. The government said, okay, you have to play
Four.
four
Later,
OPM
naging
songs an
four.
hour. Yeah. It started
Nabulang
with
ko 4 na
3.
eh. Nung
Yeah.
DJ ako, 4 na eh.
4 now. You're younger, obviously. So yeah, that for us was a positive thing. But I've never felt, and I don't think the rest of my friends of our musical generation feel any utang na loob o ano. We did all of that on our own. Fine, maybe the government, helped by making this sort of like a permanent thing or ano. But yung motives nila, iba rin sa motives namin.
Pero
You
clear
have to
na
see
ba yun?
behind
Sa
all
inyo?
this eh.
Clear na sa most artists nung time na yun.
Yeah. But we were not hindi kami particularly political nung time na yun.
Yeah.
That grew. The major change was nung pinatay si Ninoy
Pinoy.
sa
1983 yun.
Yes.
But
Nung
sadly-
kasi nagsisimmer na nagsisimmer na yung galit. So, nung pinatay nila si Ninoy, doon, people became brave enough and more aware. Tapos, they decided, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to be brave. Diba? And I will
Nagsishred
step
na kami
up.
ng phone book nun, tsaka ng mga dyaryo.
Yes.
Hello Pages.
Binondo na
Hello
ako nun.
Pages.
Yun ang
Sadly.
wala nang mga yellow pages eh.
Oo, wala na.
Oo.
De, pero
Yes.
sabi ko, unfortunately din, merong mga artists who stayed with them.
Yeah.
Even
Hindi maiwasan
nagpunta
yun
pa sa
eh.
States,
Well,
di ba?
to go
Nag-exile
back
din
to
yung
yung yes, to go back to yung feeling nila na may utang na loob sa
Oo,
kanila.
yun nga siguro.
Pero sila, itong mga artistang ito, talagang kinultivate nila yung pagkakaibigan doon
Yung relationship.
sa pamilya na yan. Oo. So, naging close talaga sila. Kami, nasa fringes lang kami. Yung mga ibang mga singer. Even if ako, yung stepfather ko kasi kasama sa gobyerno noon. No, my step-grandfather. So, I could not avoid. Kasi sasabihin ng pamilya ko, you do it, di ba? Because we're family, ganyan. We're connected to them, we're family friends, ganon. Pero nung after namatay yung lola ko sa 81, I did not feel na I needed to have any more loyalty to these people. So, yun.
Yeah. Fast track na tayo sa actual start ni Leah.
Balikan mo na yung actual start ni Leah. Yan, Leah, yan yung exciting yan eh, kasi nandyan na yung
In
sasali na siya dun sa
1977,
group.
you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Pasok na.
Well, yung story na yan is, so, Nonong Pedero was a very close friend ng mami ko. syempre he was writing many songs already at that time. Tsaka gumagawa na rin siya ng mga jingles. Yung SM jingle niya, yung Shoemart,
Mm.
Kanya ba
that
yun?
is as old, yeah. And it has never changed in 40 plus years. It
Pag
does have
nagsha-shopping
yung
ka
mga,
ngayon,
ano,
yung parang,
yeah. Di ba? SM Shoemart, di ba? You got
we
it
got
all
it
for
all.
you. Yeah, that's Nonong. So he was very prolific at that time. And yung kaklase na taga Merinol, kaklase ng uh, sister ng mami ko, si Alice Reyes ng CCP
Mm.
at that time. Okay? Si Nonong tsaka si Bien Lumbera nagsulat ng isang rock opera na ang title Tales of the
Tales of the
Manuvu,
Manufo.
Yeah.
which was actually the story of the legends of the Manobo tribe, no, in Mindanao.
Ba't nga ba ginawang
And
Manuvo yun? Yung title.
para I don't know if yung tunay na way na pinopronounce nila o ginawa lang ni Bien. Bien
Yeah.
just maybe thought it up that it would be jazzier, or how do you say, more with the times nung time ngayon sa 70s, no? Pero so Bien Lumbera, our national artist, wrote the libretto, tapos si Nonong Pedero ang kasi pareho silang taga UP eh. So magkakilala sila. So he put the music to it. Tapos si Alice Reyes decided, I want to do this and make it a ballet. Yan.
Galing.
So naghahanap sila ng mga alternates, no? Alternates for the roles of first woman, first man, tapos yung evil god tsaka yung good god, no? So apat na roles 'yon. Si Celeste siya yung first team. Celeste, tapos si Basil, si Haji, tapos si Boy Camara. Okay.
Ang bibig.
Ngayon, so naghahanap sila ng alternate. Ang nangyari, ako lang ang naging alternate. So
Sa lahat ng apat?
sa lahat ng apat. So parang ako ang naging second first woman. Okay? So, because, one, syempre, hindi naman ako kilala. Wala naman akong name, di ba? Wala. I really had not, nasa high school pa ako noon eh. Fourth year high. So, wala talaga akong exposure. Except, syempre, in a way, at home na ako dahil sa impluensya ng family ko, mother ko, yung mga friends niya, yung ganon. So, I felt kind of at home. Tapos, Nonong said talaga, I want you to be part of this because he would teach me the songs. Eh. And so, I knew the songs because he would play it when he was visiting us at home. And you should sing, So, Tita Alice spoke to my mom, who by then had just left for Canada. Kasi, backtrack ng very short, nung ginawang martial law ni Marcos, sinira lahat ng TV stations.
Yeah.
Kasama dyan ang MBC, ang Channel 11.
Yeah.
So, nawala ng trabaho mami ko. So she decided she would have to look for a new life abroad. And so she left for Canada. Okay. So by then, nasa Canada na mami ko. She left in 75. This was 1977. So kaming dalawa ng kapatid ko, we were living with my Lola Basay. So, Nonong Pedero and Alice Reyes nag-kneel down in front of my Lola and said, please let Leah be part of it, please. Ako naman, syempre, I'm there, yes, please. Syempre, yeah, in a way, since we were small, di ba? Yung, whether I had it as an ambition or not, I thought, my gosh, I can be like my mom, di ba? I can go out on stage and I can sing and like that. So that's how it happened. No, I was cast as first woman because also at the time pala, Celeste was pregnant.
Oh, okay.
I see.
And we did not know. Obviously, nobody knew when she was gonna pop, right? When she was gonna give birth. Yeah. So I guess that was the reason also that I was drafted. No. Um, so it was so much fun. That was the first time I was ever publicly, parang presented sa CCP. I mean, for me, what an honor. I never had the, how do you say, hindi ako nahasa sa mga kumakanta sa mga beer garden, yung mga lounge, yung mga
Lounge.
clubs, yung mga, yeah, that's what they used to call them, di ba? Beer gardens, lounges, di ako nagpwesto.
Nightclub.
Nightclub. Okay, nightclub.
Panahon ni
Yeah.
Teddy, nightclub.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Hindi nga ako uminom ng
Leah-
beer eh.
Pero Leah, when your mom found out that you were entering show business, anong
Yes.
initial
Ano
reaction?
reaction? Oo.
Well, she was happy, that I was following in her footsteps. She didn't think, she never, she was not the kind of parang stage mother na ginugroom kami ng sister ko na maging showbiz. Never yon. We could do whatever we wanted, whatever was our interest. So, of course, both my parents were quite proud. And
Hindi ka naman binalaan na huwag kang magsasasama sa mga ganito, yung mga ganyan, huwag kang
No,
uuwi ka
kasi-
agad paggabi.
kasi lahat ng mga executives at the time for TV, for radio, and for recording, lahat
Kaibigan
sila
nila.
kaibigan nila. So, si Tito Ben Aniceto
Oo.
was a VP of Vicor Black Gold.
Yeah, Vicor,
Black Gold, yeah. So he was the one who introduced me to Vic Del Rosario.
Okay.
Siya ang nagdala kay Vic Del Rosario sa bahay ng lola ko. Kasi kung wala kang kakilala, wala kang entry. Ganun yun. Oo. Medyo yun.
Strict.
Butas ng karayom yun.
Stricta.
Dadaan ka sa butas ng karayom.
Correct. So,
Pero you were one of the first sa Black Gold, no, Leah? Isa ka sa mga unang
yeah,
artist.
kami ni Basil, Vicor Black Gold was Basil, myself, who else were there?
Rainmakers, alam ko, Black Gold.
Rainmakers were there.
Yeah.
And wow, we were so many. Yun. Didn't
Hagibis.
Nora Honor, Hagibis, didn't Nora Honor also record? She recorded some for Vic at that time. Nora Honor, who was a big star.
Yeah.
Malaki na siya nun.
Oh wow, superstar.
I mean,
That
not
was where
literally
they coined
malaki.
it. Yeah. She's the little superstar.
Yes.
So yeah, there are quite a few of us doon. Rico Puno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Sunshine si Rico, di ba? Sunshine first.
Sunshine Records. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yung label niya.
Yung label. Tapos at that time, may Wia na noon, no? May Wia,
yes.
tapos may Gem Records.
Gem, sina
Yun.
Haji and Apo.
Yeah, yes, correct. Tapos si Tentacles ang isang composer para sa Black Gold, Vicor Black Gold.
Tentacles?
Si
May mukhang pugita ba?
Si George Canseco. Si George Canseco.
Now that you mentioned.
Yan ang tawag ni Tita Pilita kay George Tentacles kasi hello.
Speaking of George, no, siya yung sumulat nung isang kanta mo na pinaiyak yata mga 1,000,000 Pilipino.
Kailangan kita.
Well, isa yan. At saka ang pag-ibig kong ito yata, kanya rin.
Hindi, that was not his.
Iba pa to? Kanino to?
Ang pag-ibig kong ito was a late hit of mine written by Carlos Agawa.
Ayun, iba pa pala yun, Agawa.
Yes.
Yan.
And-
Going back to
and-
kailangan... Yeah, sige.
Yes, go ahead. Go back.
Going back to kailangan kita. Isa yan, di ba? Parang iniyakan na ng marami, not only for the meaning of the song, pero dahil napakahirap kantahin yung kantang yan. So, and you
Pero yung
pulled it
kailangan
off.
kita tsaka actually yung kailangan kita tsaka ang pag-ibig kong ito were not easy. Kasi yung demands for jumping from one note to the other medyo malaki ang agwat, no?
Mhm.
Pag yung mga notes na ganyan. But at the time, syempre, you don't think of those things. All you want to do is make the best version, no? Make the composer happy, make your record producer happy. And I would like to cite yung aking record producer who produced both my albums. May he rest in peace, si Bert De Leon. He was one of the very best recording producers. He had the great ear, no? He knew what yung meron din tawag noon yung mga naririnig yung mga fillers ang tawag sa arrangement, no? Yung mga gumaganyan mga chimes or yung mga ganon or entra yung bass, si Bert yon. So wow, yeah, he was instrumental in doing the hits of the VST yon. VST and Company, that's Vicor Black Gold. And then the other group, Boyfriends ba yun?
Off to Arts yung Boyfriends, eh. So,
yes, Off to Arts. But you know, that was the era of where mitikuloso talaga yung pag-produce ng mga kanta namin. And you know, when you're in the middle of it, you don't notice, and I never thought, and I don't know kung yung mga kahenerasyon ko or ano would you ever even think na magiging standards yung kanta namin. Yeah, I never thought na, you know, you record it today, it becomes a hit, but you don't think that 40 years later people still know it and they still sing your songs.
Teddy,
you know, and that's an honor.
Ano nga, di ba sabi nga nung Metro Pop, yung slogan nila, today's hits, tomorrow's classics.
Most classics.
Yes, tama. And so they were right.
Ang sisipag maggawa ng kanta nun, ano, yung mga songwriters at ano.
At saka, I must say, yung kalidad, yung quality, talaga kasi tinitingnan yan or kinikilatis nila every song had to be perfectly recorded no matter which recording company you belong to. Okay, everybody had parang, how do you say, a friendly competition. Now, who would come out with the next hit, the biggest hit, you know, who enjoyed, but all of us were friends.
Yeah.
Lahat kami magkakaibigan. Tapos, napaka-popular noon yung mag-ensemble show. Meaning, cast of thousands.
Yes.
So, lahat kami. And we always had mga shows like, oh, ikaw na naman ang kasama. Di ba? Yung mga ganun, oh, Rico, nandiyan ka na, oh, Basil. Yun.
Matanong ko lang, saan kayo nagre-record na studio noon? Cinema Audio?
Cinema Audio.
Yes.
Cinema
siya
Audio
ang noon talaga.
Yeah.
Most equipped noon, oo.
Yes.
Jose Marie.
Yes.
Dati.
Correct. Jose Marie Gonzalez.
Ano pangalan
right?
ng street na, that small street?
All I remember, sa Mandaluyong yun, tapos bababa ka ng ganyan. Tapos
Healy.
Yes. Wala na yata dun eh. I'm not sure if it still exists.
Parang nasa kanto, car dealer, Toyota ba?
Pero dun yata inedit ni Jo Marie yung yung Yolanda na fake
Nasa
news.
buhay pa. Nandun pa.
Yeah, well, at that time, Yolanda was, how many years ago? So I don't know if it still exists today. But Yolanda was what? 2013? Yeah, it could be still there. Who knows? Yeah.
I remember yung Cinema Audio was bought by Tito Soto. Ginawa niyang Tasha Records yan for a while eh.
That was way after my time na.
Yeah. Mga 84 yata yan, 85.
But you know,
Going
you
back,
can have the studio, Bob. You can have the equipment, but if you don't have the engineers and the
yeah.
producers who will be your ears for you, no, it doesn't really mean anything. No? Yes, you were gonna say.
Well, going back again to the tearjerker songs, no?
Ah,
Kasi how do you feel pagka naririnig mong tinutugtog dun sa gilid mo yung kanta mo? There would be occasions na naglalakad ka lang tapos maririnig mo ang lakas-lakas ng tunog dun sa kabila. Uy, ako yan. Teka. Ano ang feeling nun? Being a newcomer nun?
syempre nakakakilig. Syempre, of course, kikilig ka up to this day. Syempre, and especially when I hear, you know, some people will message me privately and say, gumawa ako ng version ko ng kanta mo or something. No? And they will share it. O yung anak ko, sumali sa isang singing contest. No? Kinanta niya yung kanta. You want, you know, they'll share the video with you. I love it. I think, that's how that is, I think, the meaning of how someone can become larger than life. Because after I'm gone, after we're all gone, hopefully, God willing, our music stays on. And that's how you become larger than life. And it's part of our legacy. All of us who contributed no, sa OPM or sa industry namin, we leave a mark. And it's a different kind of mark. No, it's not static. It always keeps growing, advancing, going forward, progressing with the years. Yeah.
Pero sabi mo nga yung music na OPM nung late 70s, early 80s, parang hindi pa napantayan hanggang ngayon, no? Yung mga creative juices ng mga artists, from the composers, the musicians.
Magagalit ang magagalit si
Mag-argue yung
Eli
mga bata.
Buendia sa'yo.
Oo.
Hindi naman, sabi ko,
naman.
hindi kasi lahat, hindi
Generational yan, Ted.
Oo. Sabihin ko, merong mga exceptional, katulad ni Eli Buendia sa kanyang generation.
Hindi,
Pero
marami rin.
parang
Marami na rin.
Oo.
Marami rin. Pero hindi ngayon.
Hindi
I would say
kapantay.
hindi ngayon.
Oo.
Pero yung
Hindi kapantay.
90s, pataas marami
I
rin.
think, I think the 90s into the early 2000s was okay. And kailangan ako mag-confess na hindi ako masyadong pamilyar sa mga OPM ngayon. Yung
Hindi, katulad din ng pelikula eh. May golden years talaga na pwedeng masabi.
tama, yes.
Di ba?
Hindi rin.
Hindi ko
Well,
pwedeng
you know,
pantay eh, no?
Dahil sa age yan eh. Sa age.
I think it's tama si Bob, Ted, generational yan. Kasi
Hindi, pero
nagagandahan tayo.
yung
Yan
history,
ang
pag
soundtrack
nasulat,
of our lives,
pag
di ba?
nasulat din ng mga historians natin, mababanggit may golden
Depende
years.
sa edad ng historia niyan, Ted. Depende sa edad ng historia. Kasi nga, as Gladys Knight said, dun sa The Way We Were, as bad as we think they are, this will become the good old days of our children.
Yeah,
Diba?
exactly.
Yun.
Yeah.
Diba? So,
But-
ganun talaga yan.
But I believe it's every generation has its golden age.
Okay.
Okay, every generation will have its time for what they think was the best, for them. So the music we grew up with, the music your children grew up with, and the music your grandchildren are gonna grow up with, that's gonna be their golden age. So I think that's great kasi nagko-contribute naman siya sa variety, di ba? ng mga kanta. Yan for me, that continues enriching yung musical part ng culture natin.
Masindot ka lang. Sana na rin yung gobyernong dadatnan ng mga anak at apo natin, golden years na rin nila. Hindi yung Hindi madilim.
Well,
Mismo.
tayo ang nasa kamay natin yan.
Yeah.
Naman. Yeah. Ayun,
Nasa
balikan
kamay
natin.
na.
Siningit ko lang.
Oh,
Now, one of your most timeless products is a collaboration with Basil, no? Whom you had the TV show with, no?
Yeah.
Yung Basil Leah, no?
Side by side.
Isang
Yeah.
season din yan, side by side, I think.
BBC.
Yes.
Dalawang season pa nga
BBC
yata
too.
kayo eh.
yes.
Paano kayo na-round up ni Basil to be so perfectly in harmony together?
Well, we had only one duet, yung
Lagi na lang.
Lagi na lang, di ba? It was a suggestion. I don't remember who suggested it. But Nonong Pedero wrote it with Joel Navarro. We are not related.
Swerte-swerte lang.
Swerte lang pag umulan.
Ano na yan, professor na siya, di ba? I mean,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, well, he's a pastor. He lives in the States. He's also a choir director, from what I understand.
Yes.
And he's a wonderful person. Silang dalawa ni Joel, they wrote Lagi na lang. And I don't know if it was a suggestion from the powers that be at Vicor Black Gold. But, at that time, since then, from the time of Nora Honor and Tirso Cruz, there were always love team. They will put you together. Whether you're friends in real life or not so close in real life or whatever, no? They will put you together. And I think kami dalawa ni Basil, medyo nagkasabay yung we rose parallel, right? We went sort of together at the same time. And so I think that was the reason that hinighlight kami ng Black Gold na to become what we call a love team. So that's why we had that duet and then we had the TV show together, di ba? Pero hindi na masyadong uso ngayon yan, which is fine,
Yeah.
And I think that was a very cool, nice time of in our time in show business. Kasi
Pero
we
naging
did a
close
lot.
kayo ni Basil. Kaya may
Siyempre,
chemistry.
you work every week together. Tapos, nung time na yon, nagsho-show pa kami sa mga nightclub sa Rojas Boulevard. Yung Gonzalos, yung pangalan ng mga club na yan, Wells Fargo.
Yan.
Ano yun? Daming ang daming mga bars dyan. Well, they weren't really just big. Alam mo, they were girly bars.
And you were the entertainment? That's
Yeah,
part of the
because
entertainment?
they became parang, ang tawag dito, parang respectable. Kasi itong mga bars na to, malalaki itong nightclub na to eh.
Yeah.
Gonzalo's was huge. You could have like about 500 people in there. So, syempre, doon ang nakita kong unang-una kong mga cage dancers. Nalala ninyo, cage dancers, di ba? Pero gano'n. Tapos lola ko pumupunta, syempre.
Lola mo?
Oo, na-shock. Na-shock.
Buti hindi ka pinauwi. Uwi.
Hindi naman, no. Hindi gano'n. Kami, you just soldier on. Yan.
At saka, hindi pinuntahan si Nonong, yan ba iniluhod mo sa akin?
Hindi naman. By then, okay na siya noon. So,
Meron ka bang manager noon, Leah? Was somebody handling?
Dami kong manager. Nonong handled me first. Nonong.
Okay.
And then, Wingard Tracy for a while.
Nasa Wingard.
And then, but he was really Basil's, forever and
Manager,
ever
yeah.
manager. And then there was, and that continues, except for a few, Ronnie Henares for a while. And then for the longest, and then Nini Diaz, who happens to be the sister of Ramona Diaz, the filmmaker. Of Imelda and A Thousand Pot. No, not Kingmaker, excuse me. Mas magandang Imelda.
Imelda, tama.
Ramona Diaz's sister, oo. Nini
Tsaka
Diaz
sideline,
was my manager.
sideline din yung kay Arnel Pineda na documentary siya rin.
Yes, yung Journey. Diba? That's fantastic. Excellent, excellent documentaries. So Nini was my manager. And then from Nini, after Nini, all the way down to the present, was Butch Dance and Beta Dance.
Oh.
The same managers of Apple. But
Ah,
Butch has already gone ahead of us to heaven, right? So, but I've had excellent managers. Oh, there was a time pala, Angeli Pangilinan managed me. Baka magalit siya if they get Baka magalit siya. You don't remember? Who, ano?
Anong pangalan? Genesis, di ba? Yung kanilang
Genesis,
outfit.
yes,
Genesis
yes,
Entertainment.
yes. So, I've been blessed to have many good friends in the business who have dealt with my hard-headedness and artistic temperament.
So nung nasa
And,
nightclub ka, hindi ka naman hinarangan ng pinagbawalan ng mga managers mo to do these things. Hindi ka
No.
restricted.
Because that was Bob, at that time, that was the rage where you had to have live performance. So there were not very many live performance venues except these bars, right? So lahat kami, from Rico Puno to Basil to me to even Celeste, all of us, Mitch Valdez, all of us, we did shows in those clubs, those bars, from Rojas Boulevard to Makati Avenue, Mandarin, di ba? Mandarin
Yeah,
Hotel, yung mga ganon, Intercon, lahat yan may mga show bars na by then. No, as time passed, they became like excellent venues, no, for performance, and that is where nahasa yung show business, how do you say, performance.
Showmanship.
Yes, thank you so much, Ted. Nahasa yung showmanship namin. So, minsan nadidismaya ako pag may nakikita akong mga bagong for the next number of my program, I would like to sing you a song, di ba? Yeah.
Dedicated
Alam mo,
to?
kaming mga, we were not alone, no? Hindi namin pinaplano yung mga acts, we call them our acts, right? Alone. So you have your manager, you have your musical director, if you have a choreographer. When I started, talagang crazy yung shows ko kasi papatungan ko yung mga costumes ko. Yan ang ginawa ni Nonong eh. Yung inspiration niya is, because I was so thin, pinapatong lahat ng costume changes ko. So if I would sing a song like I Just Wanna Be Your Everything ni Andy Gibb, no? May instrumental portion yon. Magda-dance out of stage ako. Gaganunin ko lang yung ko. Babalik ako, iba na yung gown ko. Grabe yung ginagawa ko nun. Grabe talaga. It was then of course you're choreographed, so our dancers, the hot legs were my dancers.
Wow.
Yes,
big time.
they all started together. We all started together then. Of course, the bigger things like concerts and stuff, we were directed by Johnny Manahan. Tats Manahan wrote our scripts. It was like, that's the industry. It's really the whole industry. I don't know if that still happens today, right? But that's why some people think, grabe naman itong singer na to, yung hinihingi niya, yung ganito, ganyan. Because, our riders were more technical, literally, than, it's not like you want this kind of water, you want this kind of food. We don't, I never had that, right? I never had that. But, you think of your show, and you plot your show, you write your spiels, because you're telling a story.
Yeah.
You're actually telling a story through the songs that you sing. And
So for my
that's
next number, mga ganun yan.
yeah,
This one's
correct.
for you, Pox. Ganun
Yeah,
yan.
correct. I don't understand why they don't think about those things now. Because that's, I know that a lot of foreign acts, that you see from Madonna to Katy Perry to Britney Spears, all of that still follow the same old rules.
Hmm.
You
At
have to
saka it
have
doesn't
your
really,
concept. Yeah,
if I may add, it doesn't really
yeah,
start and end with just the song. Di ba? It's the
correct.
whole show.
It's the whole
Kaya nga,
show.
kaya nagkaroon ng Rico Puno dahil nga yung pagdugtong niya ng mga kanta ang nagdala
Yeah,
sa kanya.
exactly. So he knew how to tell the stories he wanted to tell. We all had our own stories. So you have to conceptualize. Once you have your concept, you choose the music. After that, you have to choose which songs am I going to dance to or not, right? So then you have your dancers and you have your rehearsals, your choreography, and all. Then you have your music rehearsals with the band, and then you go through your dress rehearsal or your tech rehearsal, and you see, maybe we should change it. This song will come here because it's too slow there, and then you pattern your spiels with the way the songs are being tied together. Yung isang magaling na foreign act na gumawa niyan is Bette Midler.
Okay.
Oo.
Bette Midler
Kompletong
had
show.
the best kompleto yung shows niya. And not only, great performance, but funny, di ba? May social commentary siya. And so we all have that, right? We all have that. Then you have the rock bands. Even the rock bands had their own
Meron.
stories.
Yes,
So
totoo yan.
Pepe and okay,
Mike?
senior moment.
Mike and Wally.
No, yeah, I know, Chris. Yeah. Wally in heaven, Pepe in heaven, Mike until now is down here.
Diyan
So
pa.
Juan de la Cruz, no? They
Bang.
have their way of doing their shows. Not just because Pepe would make jutes there, no? Meron pa rin yung plano. Siyempre, may listahan sila ng kanta. Tapos kung ano-anong gagawin in between. Ano yun? We also would learn that kasi from the foreign performers na pumupunta dito. So nung time namin, 70s into the early 80s, ayan na si Johnny Mathis, si Jack Jones, Sammy Davis Jr., who else
Letterman.
came at that time? Letterman,
Letterman.
yeah, pero but I
Dala ni
learned a
Madam
lot.
Lou.
Andy Williams would come over,
Andy
right?
Williams.
I learned a lot from watching them doing their shows. Liza Minnelli came here. All of them had, and I was able to watch 3 times si Sammy Davis Jr. the whole time he was here. Okay, he did many shows of folk arts eh. So I went, I think 3 times. Alam mo, the first time sabi ko, my God, he's fantastic. He's so sincere. What a great, conversationalist, ganyan. It was the same spiel every night, on the dot, every time.
He
Even Bert
connected the same
Bacharach,
way. Eh?
Bert did the same. You see, it's a formula. In the end, the lesson I learned that it's a formula. What works, you keep. What doesn't work, throw away.
Throw away.
And if you're doing road shows, okay, you can't be saying something new every night. That's true. So after a
Mauubusan
while,
ka, no?
correct, mauubusan ka. And it's not that you're being insincere or you're just parroting, no? I saw the audiences after the second and third watch, the audiences were really drawn in, impressed. So I said, so it's not like he's lying or anything like that. He's just sticking to the script like a movie. And I thought that was fantastic. And that's how I learned, no? Spiels are very important during a show. Your lead in to your next number, you have to, if you want to, kung hindi siya segue, you have to introduce it properly, either with a story or, something to draw the audience to you. You don't just
O Leah, ang isa
Yeah.
pang Bob, ang isa pang kakaiba nung late 70s, early 80s, kailangan mag-guest kayo sa student canteen at eat bulaga at
Tama.
lunchtime, di ba? To promote
Yes.
your
Well,
shows.
Itbulaga started 79, so yun na,
Well,
after
well,
that.
early
you know,
80s.
and all those shows, we had to go kapag may bagong kanta ka.
Yeah,
Kasi
bago
promote,
wala tayong ganito noon na pwede mo lang i-share, upload mo, di ba? Yan na, ito na yung bagong
Pero
kanta.
usually, kasi di ba tanghali yun, live.
Noon time,
Noon
tapos
time.
Nakakatawa pa na
Tapos,
hawak-hawak mo pa yung poster ng show mo.
correct. Tapos dadalhin mo yung LP mo, di ba?
Oo.
Dalhin mo yung LP mo. Tapos masaya yun
Yeah,
kasi
masaya.
pupuntahan mo lahat ng lunchtime show, tapos pupuntahan mo yung musical evening shows.
Oo, pati kay
Meron
JQ.
ganon.
Pati kay
Oh,
JQ.
yun, kay JQ, tapos Penthouse 7. Sa
Ah.
gabi yun Penthouse
Oo.
7, Joe Quirino, please pass the mic, di ba?
Oo.
Na-experience ko talaga yun, yung please pass the mic, take it away.
Kasi dadalawa lang yata yung mic doon sa IBC 13 dati.
Tama! Wow. Tapos
Okay nga, Rod.
yung nakakatawa nung magte-taping kami o kung may live show dun sa Broadcast City, di ba?
Oo.
Ano yan? Channel 13, Channel 9,
And 2.
and 2, right? Kichi Benedicto's, ano yun?
Oo.
World.
Yeah, those were her kingdom, di ba?
Oo.
Pero, I don't know kung sino ang contractor nila or whatever. Kapag umulan, hindi ka pwedeng mag-live na may mic. Kasi yero yung bubong. Hindi! Yero! Yero ang bubong. So sabi, much later on, nagtatanong na kami, sino nag-kickback dyan? Bakit ganun yun? Kasi dapat, kagaya, that's why, I must say, my dad and his friends, when they built ABS-CBN, it stands till today. Their studios.
Studio nun, matibay.
Well, look at their studios are all dead sound, right? I mean, all the lights and stuff, you know, they
Yung mga
planned all
lumang
of
studio
that.
pa yan, yung dati, di ba? Yung mga noon niya.
These are all, but they're all still the same shell, Bob.
Yeah.
That building has never changed. You know, they built the big old, you know, I don't know if they have studios in the high rise, right? I guess. Meron. I don't know now. Pero
nag-guest ka namin sa ASAP sa Studio 10 sa high rise yun, sa 9501 yan.
Ayun ba yun?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pero the other studio, yung merong, yung kabilang studio, yung merong showtime, yun, sa lumang building pa yun.
Yes. And there was one, what is that? There was also that other building where you go down. Is that the one? That's the new building?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the big studio, right? Yeah.
Pwede kong itanong sa iyo, Leah. Nung student kami, kasi nga lunchtime, di ba? Yung ibang singers kagigising lang, o yung iba napipilitang gumising. Kakanta, yung iba live, yung iba, lip sync, di ba?
Yes, oo.
So,
well, depende yan. Ako, dahil sa training nga ng lola tsaka mami ko, you cannot be late.
Okay.
So, it's not like you get up 5 minutes before your call time, put on I have to do everything. I do my own makeup, plan my wardrobe, and I'm there at least 30 minutes before the guesting. Kasi lahat kami, we were all like that. Even Rico was like that, even if he had just woken up. At least he would be there before. We never had to wait for any prima donnas. We did not have divas.
Part of the luxury nung panahon yun, no? Yung walang
ganun. Yung director ng maraming mga ensemble shows namin, si Al Quinn, Johnny Manahan, and si Fritz Infante. Okay? All of them, we had to be either ahead or on time. There was no excuse. Because they will tell you, your call time is at this time. So you better be there. So yung training namin, ganun. So kahit kahit nag-disco ka the night before, or you're coming from the beach, or from wherever, kailangan nandun ka on time. Because we never wanted our yung co-stars namin, yung mga ka-guest namin, to wait. It's a sign of respect. Simple lang yan.
Totoo yan.
Respeto lang. Hindi yung
Bawal ang
respeto mo,
bastos.
boto ko Oo. Hindi yung respeto mo lang, boto ko, iboboto ko yung si ano. Ito yung tunay na respeto para sa isa't isa.
Yan. Butahan natin naman yung panahon na nandun din si Teddy. Witness nung third Metropop. Kasi nandun si
nandun
Teddy
ka na ba, Ted?
as an
kasi
usher
ako doon.
Usher siya nun eh.
Usher ako sa Folk Arts Theater.
Talaga?
Oo.
So,
Madalas ako ma-assign sa Red
ron.
Gate kung saan dumadaan yung mga VIP.
Oh! Wow! So, nakita na pala tayo pero hindi tayo
Siguro, hindi tayo
nakakilala.
magkakilala.
Yes.
Inapak-apakan mo lang si Teddy nun, biro mo.
Hindi naman. Wow. 1979, right?
Oo.
79.
Alam mo
Third
kung magkano
Metropop.
sweldo namin noon per show? 8 pesos.
My gosh. Pinirahan ka na nun, ano? Kaya tayo antay ngayon, di ba? Oo. Grabe yun.
Si Teddy, kukunin ko muna yung point of view ni Teddy nung kinakanta ni Leah yung Isang Mundo, Isang Awit. Ano ang naramdaman mo nung na-perform na yun for the first time sa harapan mo, Ted?
Sino ba tinatanong mo si Leah?
Ikaw ang tinatanong ko. Teddy.
Ako ba
Kasi
guest
from your
dito?
point
Di
of
ako
view
guest,
muna. Gusto ko lang malaman yung feedback sa'yo.
Hindi,
Kasi bilang
parang
isa sa audience, nandun.
Hindi, ano bang ano yon? Anong edition ng Metropop yon?
Pangatlo.
Third.
Pero parang ang feeling ng mga nasa audience, kapareho din namin ng mga ushers, parang ano to, mananalo to. Parang ganon.
Hindi
Kasi
ka na
dahil sumabay lahat.
Ang dating, parang, di ba, ang unang-una yung kay ganda ng ating musika.
That was the first Metropop, yes.
Oo,
tapos
nanalo
walang
rin
pipi at
sa
bingi.
Seoul, Korea. So parang
Right.
gano'n ang dating sa amin.
Kaso Ted, yung
Yung
sumunod,
universal.
bulag pipi at bingi. Di ba?
Oo,
pangalawa.
bulag pipi at bingi.
So, parang it's a toss-up kung ano yung magiging tunog nung susunod na winner doon sa pangatlo.
Hindi, pero yung biggest song na lumabas, Anak, di ba? Hindi panalo ang Anak, ha?
Hindi na nanalo yun. Hindi siya nanalo. Yes, pero, I have to say, nung nire-rehearse namin ni Nonong, when he said, I want you to sing this, and I had so many good friends helping at the time. One of them was Leo Valdez, who was there, and Ding Mercado, who were very close friends also. And when we were in my Lola's house, that's where I would rehearse and where we would figure out the choreography. No, that was for me a full production. That's where you really understand how important it is to have support and for people who will guide you, through your career. And so we will go through particular dance steps kasi magaling talaga sumayaw si Ding Mercado, apart from singing very well. Leo Valdez with the attitude and magaling si Leo sa ganyan eh. Natural actor siya. Tapos of course the song itself, no? The song itself was so unique at that time. Nonong always was ahead of his time as far as his music. The beats, the melodies, for me they are, with all due respect to George Canseco, to Carlos Agawa, to the other wonderful composers whose songs I was able to record. For me, Nonongs were the closest to my heart, and when you listen to them these days, hindi naman sila tunog luma, di ba? Hindi sila tunog parang standard na yan, no? That's why I love the song. And although Isang Mundo, Isang Awit for me was so unique kasi the beat, the lyrics, like who's talking about universal love, right? But that was Nonong's idea. I believe, I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but I think na-inspire siya dun sa kanta ni Ryan na kay ganda ng ating
Ayun
musika,
nga, kaya
which
sabi
is
ko, ano, yeah,
universal, di ba?
ano nang
So,
dating.
so yan din yata ang gustong ipamahagi ni Nonong nung
No,
time
no.
na yon, no? Universal love. I don't remember what was really happening in 79, what made him what inspired
Well,
him to do it.
binan
But he
yung
was,
Voltes 5.
ayun. So, I'm glad na mention mo yung Voltes 5 kasi at before ginawa na before 70, I think in 78, pumunta si Nonong sa Japan, sa Tokyo. I forget. I think he was there
May
as a
connection
tourist.
pala talaga.
Yeah, he was there as a tourist, and I believe he stayed longer than he should have stayed dahil nawili talaga siya sa kultura ng mga Hapon, no? So that's where he wrote, excuse me, the original Buhay ng Buhay Ko is in Japanese. Okay? The lyrics are in Japanese, and that's when he wrote all those songs, and then eventually Isang Mundo Isang Awit, where he felt, there is something special about traveling and getting to know people from other countries, other cultures. You get enriched that way. And then I guess how you tie it into the thought of universal love, or how we can get along, and world peace.
Ang makasaysayang world peace sa beauty contest.
Yes.
Pero hindi kaya na-inspired din siya nung silly love songs ni Paul McCartney and Wings, dahil paulit-ulit yung I love you dun eh, di ba? Parang ginawaan lang niya ng
I'm not
yung
sure.
chorus
You should ask him that, but
yeah,
I would be
sayang nga eh,
surprised.
we could have had him eh.
Yeah,
We've had Mike here several times, pero hindi
well,
namin
you should ask
na-contact
him
si
again,
Nono.
and
Ah,
I can be your surprised guest.
Thank you.
Galing yon.
Okay yun. Masaya
Yeah,
yun.
I'll shock him. Shock him. Yes, but so yes,
Marami bang revelations yun, Leah? Maraming marireveal?
Yung maganda nito, buong Gentle Rain hilahin natin.
about his music,
Yes,
Gentle
yes,
Rain.
yes.
So you had Roddy Picard, who was the least known of the Gentle Rain, passed away a few years ago. Noel Plana, Boy Plana, now lives in the States. Then of course there's Anthony Castello, who's still around, and Boy Camara, who's also still around, and both of them are still performing, if I'm right, and they're both very, very good. Okay, they're all very good. We see andami. There are so many musicians and singers and who we all kind of started together and who are still around and doing well. They're all great people, all fun people. And even if we don't see eye to eye politically, we're still civil with each other. Right, yeah.
Well, music unites us, di ba? The music should.
Well, to a certain point. Only up to a certain point. After that, magpapakatotoo na.
Totoo.
Tama ba yun? Magpapakatotoo na. Dapat tayo. It's like, okay. But yes, so to go back to Isang Mundo, you have to rehearse this with the orchestra at 2 days or something before, okay? Because this is big staging ito eh. This is big staging. There were at least 12 entries, right? So this is when all of us would hear each other's songs for the first time. And I thought so many had fabulous songs. But none of us, of course, all of us would say, that's a beautiful song. Yung ganun, di ba? It's so beautiful. But none of us would say, I hope you're the one that wins. Siyempre naman, they won't say that, di ba? Siyempre, may friendly competition pa rin yun. And so, I never really noticed it. Pero the secret of the performance itself was we never showed my gown to anybody.
Okay. Sino
gumawa?
Gang
Gomez.
Gomez. Okay.
Yes.
Tapos saan kayo nag-record? No,
we recorded it after na.
Hindi ba magpapadala ng tape music or recorded music para sa finalists?
I don't remember. You have to send in
Yeah,
You have to send in your cassette, di ba?
Entry. Yeah,
Nonong did
cassette.
that. Nonong did that. Yeah, as an
But
entry.
ikaw
And
na
then,
ang
but
singer. Ikaw na ang
yeah,
singer.
yeah. But there
Oh,
are hundreds of entries.
yes, yes.
So for you to come out, di ba?
The
Yung,
top
that's
12.
really a hard. I don't know how they do it now, right? I don't know if there's enough. But we had like hundreds of entries apparently. And so when you are, it also apparently, you would have to say in the entry who is singing it. If
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
right, I think you would say no who's singing it. So I don't know if anyone was, how do you say, influenced. But sometimes some of the songs that made it as finalists, the ones who ultimately performed them were not the same.
Yeah.
Some of them, not
Mm-mm.
all. Okay.
Pwede.
Yeah, yeah. So, it all depended on that. And after I sang it, kasi when I was on stage, the clincher kasi, this is where it proves that a whole production is so important to even the performance of one song. Okay. The gown was very simple. It was just a white sheath na gown. Straight cut with a bit of a slit. Tapos there was something hanging from my shoulder na kasinhaba nung gown ko. Na kapag nagmo-move ako, may nakikita kang mga sequins na
Glitter.
nag-glitter na
Nagwawasiwas.
yes, thank you for that very deep Filipino word. So, and then at the end of the song, at pag-ibig, ganyan, di ba?
Mm-mm.
I lifted up the thing that was dangling,
Oh.
and it turned out to be a red heart against a white background na puro
Okay.
sequins.
Okay.
Doon humiyaw yung crowd. Doon nga, gumaling!
Talagang
Kasi
complete production value.
yan ang clincher, ang tawag doon, di ba?
Brought to you
That
by the
was
Philippine Heart Center.
Yes, yes. This is where you enunciated your performance. That was the exclamation point.
Galing.
So wow, gumanyan na yung, when I went backstage, that's when some Apo came up to me, the boys, Jim, Danny, panalo ka na, kid. Ganon. I was too, your adrenaline levels are
Kasabay
so
ba ng
high.
ewan yun nila? Kasabay
No,
ba?
hindi.
Yeah,
Nauna ng taon yan. Nauna
Dapat
ng 1
nandun
year.
sila.
Ng 1 year.
Wala.
Ensemble
Baka
shows.
performers.
Yung,
Okay.
di ba, habang nagsuscore yung mga judges,
Oo.
may break.
Oo.
Yeah.
So lahat kami doon, pati si Sharon, if I remember right, Sharon.
Yeah.
Haji was also there. Apo was also there. This is aside from.
The other winners,
Yes.
by the way, yung sumunod dun kay Leah, yung New Minstrels na kagagestan
Yes.
natin. Yung Ikaw Ako Tayo Magkakapatid, yun yung number.
Yes.
Tapos, the next placer, yung kay Rayan Fuentes.
Yun.
Rayan Fuentes, nandoon na, nawala pa.
Yes.
Well,
No, but
actually, was a New Minstrel also. Yeah.
Umagang Kay Ganda was my year, wasn't it?
No, it was an earlier
Was it
Metro
the
Pop.
year before? The
Yes,
year before?
Rayan and Titi.
Correct, yes. The one that,
May
ginagamit
kinakanta
ngayon.
na ngayon. Ewan ko ba kung bakit. Kaya yung ABS, pag nagbuo uli ng morning show, hindi na nila magamit yun.
No.
Diba?
No.
Actually, alam mo ba,
It's really
just for
sad.
sidelight,
It's really
just for
sad that
context,
they're using it, by the way.
in case somebody is watching here who can report on that, kayo, kahit naintindihan ng kabila, no? Alam nyo ba na yung title nung kinakanta nyo ay hindi Bagong Lipunan? Bagong Pagsilang ang pamagat nun. Ang kinakanta nyo ay Marcha. Yun yung Bagong Lipunan.
Yes.
Ang Bagong Lipunan song is a serenade. Also made by the same composer, Levi Celerio, tsaka Felipe De Leon. Pero, serenade yun, ibang kanta yun.
That's a very
Kinakanta
good
nyo,
point.
Bagong Pagsilang. Pati yan, nire-revisionist nyo eh. Hirap sa inyo eh.
Yeah, well.
Ayan, galit na si Bob.
Pamagat na nga, di ba? It's
They were well, the first line is may bagong silang, di ba? So
yeah.
it should be, di ba?
Bagong Pagsilang talaga. Yan ang lyric ni Levi Celerio. Di ba?
Correct. Levy, who
ginawa ni
used to
George
sing,
Canseco,
who
Bob?
used to sing with the leaves, right? Levy
Yes, oh.
used to be able to play the leaf like a harmonica.
Oh, nandun ang saludo ko doon. Ang galing ni Mang Levy. Tsaka ang galing niya
Correct.
magpatawa. Yung mga
Yeah.
dinudugtong-dugtong na salitang Tagalog. And it's a
Yes.
good thing also for our generation, Leah, na naabutan natin siya.
Correct. Because his generation of comedians were some of the most, sila Dolphy, they were the brightest. You have to be
Funniest.
very sharp to be funny.
Yeah.
You have to be
Kasi-
brilliant to be
Yeah,
funny.
correct.
And it's not in an era of self-deprecating comedy nung panahon na yon. They
Yeah.
actually go beyond that. And taas nila, di ba? Yung
Kasi trained
matatawa
sila
ka sa kanila, hindi dahil sa itsura eh. Matatawa ka sa kanila, period.
Sa entablado kasi sila lahat na train.
Yung correct. They hasang-hasa sila sa, what was the
Stage
name
show.
of that theater? Theater in
Clover.
Clover.
Opera,
Yes.
An opera house.
opera house.
Yes.
At lahat ng entablado sa
Vaudeville.
fiesta.
They,
Vaudeville.
they learned vaudeville via vaudeville.
I was also more lucky dahil nandun ako sa neighborhood na nandun yung buong Crazy Corporation doon nakatira.
Oh my
Diba?
gosh.
They actually
Then
had
it was
practice
crazy.
dancing doon sa bahay namin sa kabila.
See?
Wala na ngayon. Nakakatuwa. Sila Mang Bayani, di ba? Si Teroy.
Yeah, Bayani Casimiro.
Si Teroy, si Panchito, si Mang Ading, at saka si
Yeah.
Dolphy.
Yes. Ading was so funny, Ading Fernando. Yung ganyan niya, yung...
Poker face.
Diyan,
Oh, and then yung No,
Baka ibang iwi yan, Leah.
Hindi,
Baka magawa mo
pero yung greatest talent, yung greatest talent ni Ading was singing out of tune.
Oo na napakahirap, pero mahusay siya talaga.
That is almost impossible for any singer when you have pitch.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
But he must have had super pitch. Kasi, nagiging ka nun yung parang talagang lalabas ka sa bed, sa melody. Yeah. That's so difficult. Napaka-difficult nun. Almost parang, it's like you lifted, 10,000 pounds or something to be able to do that. Grabe, galing niya. You have to be a good musician, I would think, to do, right? Oo. Pero, then you had sila Panchito, you had Kachupoy. They had a lot of physical comedy. Pero the base nung comedy nila,
yung wit yung sharpness.
was the wit, yeah.
Yeah.
Add on lang yun, yung action, yung mga funny moves nila and all of that. It was mainly yung repartee nilang dalawa ni Dolphy and Panchito. Remember that? Na? And then you'd have those cute movies of Teroy and Teroy de Guzman and Bayani Casimiro, all of those guys dancing like Fred Astaire.
Ang gagaling
very
diba?
good. Yes. Then you had Chichay.
Yes. Yan. Sila Aling Metring.
Yeah. And Elizabeth.
Ramsey.
Yeah. I mean,
Patsy.
and Dinky Do. Patsy and Dinky Do.
Pat Salem and Dinky Do.
Si Patsy yung Dinky Do. And then si Patsy yung malaki.
Yes, correct.
She was the big lady. And, she was yung parating masungit.
Oo.
Sino ba yun? Si Patsy ba yun? Si Patsy ba yun?
Tama ka.
Yeah. She was always masungit.
Oo.
Always. And sometimes even in real life, masungit siya.
Ganun ba?
Yung parang hindi siya out of character, but actually she was really quite nice. Very nice.
Ang laging biktima niya si Tange di ba? Yung kinasusungitan niya palagi.
Oo nga. Actually, Babalu was one of the youngest of them. Di ba? Of their
witty din yun.
generation. Yeah.
Magaling din si Babalu.
And then si
Redford White.
Redford White, fantastic guy too. Fantastic guy. He was crazy, bright, crazy yun.
It's just fun to talk about these comedy icons na nakakatawa.
And remember, our shows were like that, okay? Mix yung ensemble shows namin. we would have music, we'd have skits, no, comedic breaks. We would have we would show Kondiman songs and then songs of the period of the time, and it was always a variety para hindi mabore yung mga tao. So, well, I don't know. I hope they still do those things now. I don't know. Hindi pa ako nakaka-watch ng mga concerts even before the pandemic. I wasn't able to see very
And
much.
then, Leah,
I hope, yeah. Yes.
And then Leah, there came a time na it just wasn't funny anymore. Yung sitwasyon natin sa gobyerno that was leading towards EDSA, yung mga panahon na yun. Where were you at the time? At ano nang pinagagagawa niyo nung panahon na yun?
Well, okay. 1983 was when I did two things. I stopped associating with the Marcoses because I believed na, it's time to be more sincere to myself, because I had seen all that. Because I was a favorite singer of theirs, I got to travel, they would call me to go from place to place, things like that. And I did it out of, in a way, obedience, because my grandparents were good friends of theirs. And first, you feel na, okay, I don't want to ruffle any feathers, diba? You don't want to let the powers that are in power, bring down their power on you. So there's a little bit of concern there. Although, unti-unti na akong namumulat noon to what was really going on. And in a way, I hope people understand this, because I grew up really closeted. No, I lived in an enclave. I was protected and sheltered, so I didn't know very much. And it was only when I became a singer and I started to get out more is when the blinders came off. No, and then that's when you have to, when you are confronted by these things, you don't just say, oh, I will stay in my, in the safe place sa mind ko and ignore everything. You have to see what's really going on. So in 83, when they shot Ninoy, that's when I really said, I don't want to have anything to do with them, number one. Number two, I actually stopped paying my taxes. That was my form of protest.
No? So hindi ka pwede tumakbong presidente.
Actually, okay. Mag-fast forward lang ako konti, no? In 86, mid-year of 86, after the revolution, na-audit ako ng BIR and I was made to pay a penalty. So I paid.
Yeah.
Pero mas malaki, yung penalty ko, 24,000 pesos. Okay?
Willingly, di ba? Okay lang naman kasi ayos na yung gobyerno nun.
But kasabay ko na na-headline, na-headline ako, kasama ko sa headline, si Nora Honor.
Ayun.
Pero may konting mas malaki yung utang niya noon. 3 million
Nadagdagan ng
pesos.
zero. Maraming zero yung ganyan.
3 million pesos yung utang niya noon. Okay. Nasabay lang ako kasi celebrities not paying taxes, yung ganyan, audited by BIR, yung mga ganyan. But okay, to go back to that time, that's when, by then, obviously, the Apo Hiking Society and we were all very close friends, like family. And that's when Jim, Danny, and Buboy took me under their wing, and they helped me understand what was really going on. Jim's brother, Rafi, he went to the mountains nung time na yon. Tapos kapag bababa siya para bisitahin yung mother nila, magsistay siya sa bahay ng mami ko kasi nobody would look there. During those times, people were hiding. We lived through, obviously in the earlier parts, we lived through the curfew, di ba? And when that song was drummed into your head, the song that they play now as a theme song, it's like, so when I hear it now, parang may chills na umaano sa likod ko. Yung it is not a good memory. I may have lived through most of it without being completely affected, okay? But it doesn't mean that hindi ko na realize or I didn't appreciate that there were people who suffered much, much, much harder than anybody would even imagine would suffer. No? So don't think just of yourself, but of the people who were victimized by that family and those times. And so from 83 to 86, I would accompany sila, the Apo, sila Celeste, magla-lightning rally kami sa daan. Yung may bigla na lang sisipot na 4x4, yung walang side. Diba? Na may sound system. Tapos kayo, pampakayo ka. Greenbelt Makati, kung saan-saan iba, di ba? Yung lumalab, yung gano'n.
Lightning
tapos
rally
biglang mawawala ka. Oo, lightning rally. Tapos biglang mawawala kayo, parang bula. Ganon. So, that's where I found my courage, I think. And then, during those years, the 80s and a little before, I was already, kasama ako sa NAMFREL. But yung organization na original before NAMFREL was called CINEA, Citizens National Electoral Assembly. That was the first iteration of that was created by Joe Concepcion. Okay? So kami, I was a volunteer in Forbes Park. That's how I became part of CINEA. Then eventually, I of course still lived in Makati, even if I wasn't in Forbes anymore. Nung nag-NAMFREL na sa 85, I joined NAMFREL Makati. That's how my association with Winnie Monsod and Christian Monsod began. So by then,
meron kang katsa na yung
of course,
katsa na uniform. Meron din ako.
Yung parang chaleco.
Oo.
Yeah. Chaleco.
Ano yata ng arena ng RFM yun eh. Di ba?
Yata. Tapos silk screen lang yung NAMFREL sa likod.
Yung tatak.
Yes. So, in 19...
Pero dapat, ang NAMFREL noon, Leah, di ba dapat neutral? Pero parang...
We were neutral naman talaga. We were, the idea...
For the people lang.
We never told, we didn't say, we did not campaign for anyone. As NAMFREL. Siyempre, as an individual, you campaign for who you want or you vote for whoever you want, no?
Kasi meron akong small anecdote. So,
okay, go ahead.
Naka-chaleco ako ng katsa sa presinto na naka-assign ako diyan sa
85 to,
85
86
election, yung
presidential
snap
election. Yung snap
December yata election.
No, February 9.
February. 86 na yun, no?
7. February 7 yata.
86
1986.
Anyway, nagbibilangan na. Tapos, yung assemblyman do sa aming lugar.
Anong barangay ka?
Anong lugar ka?
Sa Paco ako Paco, Manila eh.
So Manila ka pa.
687 ako.
Okay.
Anyway,
so hindi ka pa Makati. Okay.
Si Lito Asensya nag-iikot, assemblyman namin.
Opposition naman siya noon eh.
Although bawal yun eh. So sabi niya dito, sino panalo dito? Sabi niya, Sir, talo tayo, sabi ko. Nakabisto ako tuloy.
Hindi
namin. Nakachaleco ako.
Correct. Sa Makati, iba kami. Talagang, walang tawag nito. Even if we all knew that we were pro-Cory, no? Outside, pag naka-NAMFREL chaleco ka, you're for nobody. Okay?
Pero nanalo ba sa presinto nyo na naka-assign ka?
Si Cory?
Oo.
No, we were, okay, I have to explain. NAMFREL Makati, we had dedicated teams in different barangays.
Oo.
no? But we did not stay. We were not the actual watchers of. You mean
Okay,
of the?
okay.
We had other. I mean, yes, some of us watched the counting, but what was more matindi, na witness talaga namin yung mga harassment, intimidation, beatings by yabuts sa mga
Henchmen.
henchmen ni Yabut na tapos there were several people killed in there are several NAMFREL volunteers killed in Makati.
Oh.
Okay? Yeah, and naalala ko si Fernando Sobel, na-shock talaga siya kasi sa harap niya may binubugbog na NAMFREL na kasabay. NAMFREL din si Fernando eh. So, lahat kami were shocked na, wow, talagang they're gonna try this, no? So that's why dun yata nabuo yung namin yung conviction. Now we have to stand for the truth. We have to make sure that the truth is what always comes out. That was the whole point naman of NAMFREL. You
Hirap lang.
watch, yeah,
Hirap
you
lang
have to.
talaga nun.
Well, yeah, and hello, we were all afraid. Not so different from now.
Yan,
Oo
It's
nga.
segue
very
na natin.
similar. Very
Segue na natin
similar.
now.
Yeah. And yes, so Winnie Monsod had a very nice podcast on the connection of between EDSA 1 and now.
Now.
She said that, I'm paraphrasing her lang, na ang daming similarities. Okay? People were afraid at the time. People were angry. And there was a widow being challenged by a despot. And so we have many things that we can tie in to what was happening then and now. But what I think doesn't change is that we need to always have our hearts in the right place. What is it? It's not what you want for yourself, but what you want for your country. No? The problem is, yung isang hindi masyadong magandang trait natin na Pinoy is, meron ba tayo dyan? No? Anong makukuha ko dito?
Yeah, what's in it?
Right? What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Yes. And that's how they think. And that's why maybe they support a particular candidate is because they think, ito, pag nanalo siya, bibigyan niya ako ng Taliano Gold. Di ba?
Yan.
Yan, correct. Meron akong certificate.
Add to that, Leah, yung pagkamasunurin natin sa magulang, medyo nagiging haywire na pagka masyadong pinaninindigan eh. If you follow instructions to the letter ng mga magulang mo, yung magulang mo pala, nakinabang. So, susunod ka dun sa pinakinabangan nila na akala nila makukuha nila.
That's the funny way of, also way of describing within your own family na may dynasty of thinking kayo. No?
Yeah, yan.
That's the utang na loob problem.
Utang na loob factor.
I wrote this on Twitter, Kapiraso.
Yes,
the true way to bring honor to your parents is not to blindly follow them, but to be better than them.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. I agree. Well, I'm very glad that my parents were always, anti-wrong. And I mean, this is what's funny. They always say from the time that you're 7 years old, you're supposed to know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
You know that when you know in your heart you've done something wrong, whether someone is in the room with you or not, when you do something wrong, it's wrong and you know it. But if you decide to ignore it, just because doing something wrong supposedly helps you, like gives you money, gives you a great job, power, whatever, you're still wrong.
Kaya
And
Leah,
I don't understand
kami
that.
sa'yo eh. Hanga kami sa'yo. Dahil celebrity ka, pero kasama ka namin mula pa noon. Hindi ba? Yung mga
Well,
anti-Binay rallies natin noon.
mas nauuna kasi maging citizen kaysa maging
Ayun,
singer.
bago celebrity.
Yeah, you have to be a good citizen before you can be anything.
Yeah.
Anything. And,
Saka
you know,
Pilipino muna bago maging
Yeah.
iba pa. Oo.
I owe it, utang ko ito sa mga fans ko rin. Kasi,
Yeah.
you know, how can I stand in front of my fans and say that I'm sincere when I'm singing for them when I can't even be sincere with my own beliefs, di ba?
Yeah.
And that's why when people ask me, why are you voting for Lenny? I tell them why. And I proudly tell them why. I don't say, basta, respeto lang.
Pero basta.
May
Hindi ko
bago nga eh.
maintindihan eh.
Alam
Hindi
niyo
ko
ba may
maintindihan
bago?
yung katwiran na yun eh. Ano, Ted?
Secret daw. Secret.
Secret.
Oo.
Why? Bakit? Nahihiya ba sila?
Ayun
Ba't
na
sila,
nga siguro.
ba't ka mahihiya sa isang taong iboboto mo? Ba't ka mahihiya dun sa choice mo? Yan ang hindi ko maintindihan. I'm very proud of who I've chosen to be on my list. Okay? My vote is
Pareho naman
sacred.
tayong tatlo. Pareho tayong
Yeah.
tatlo.
Yeah, and when we go there to vote, we obviously don't tell people in the precinct na, you know, the vote is sacred. It's our vote, and we write
Yeah.
down those names. But it's because we studied who they were. We understand who they are. We know who they are. We've listened to them. Chine-check natin yung record nila, di ba? I mean, why would you want to vote for magnanakaw? I mean,
Kaya
yeah.
yung senatorial candidate na bumanat dun sa dalawang tanga. Yung galing nun. Sasama ko yun.
Sino yun?
Bastos
Hindi ko
ka.
na,
Galing nun.
yun,
Kagabi, di ba? Galing nun.
okay, na-miss ko yun.
Pag-aaralan ko
na-miss
siya
yun.
ngayon at gusto ko
Ano
siyang
yun?
isama sa
Yung ba yung
ticket ko.
SMNI? Yung ba yun?
Oo, yung dun. Oh.
Ay,
Senatorial
hindi ako manonood
debate
nun. Sorry,
kasi.
Bob.
Hindi ka
Ayoko
manonood
manonood.
dapat nun kasi madadagdagan yung puntos nila eh. Pero yung mga highlight,
Correct.
makikita mo. At makita mo kung paano niya pinanatan yung dalawang clown.
Okay.
Yung mahilig sa salitang bobo, tsaka yung sayo ng yung pagong.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, that one?
Ganda,
That's
ang
na.
bastos mo. Ikaw,
Yeah,
kilala
yun.
kita. Dati kang human rights.
Oo.
Ano nangyari sa'yo? Ganun ka. Galing.
Ano sagot? Ano sagot, Bob?
Hindi makasagot. Tameme.
Ayun.
Diba?
Tamemi na siya.
Oh.
Siyempre, it's like that. Basta, respect.
Eh
Oras
kaya
ko to,
ayoko
bastos.
na mag-attend sa mga forum na ganyan, Leah. Ayoko na mag-attend. Baka
Hindi ako
matanungin mo
nag-a-attend.
eh.
I don't watch them. I don't watch them.
Hindi, baka tanungin mo ako kasi ayoko nang magdadalo dyan.
Bakit?
Bakit nasasagot yung tanong mo kung bakit kami magnanakaw? Bakit ako nagpeke ng diploma ko? Hindi ko masasagot
Yeah.
yun.
Correct.
Sino ba mga kasagot nun? Ultimo yung campaign manager mo. Hilong-hilo na sa kagagawa na excuse eh.
Yeah. Oh. Tama.
Mauubusan
Why
na
do
ng
you
palusot.
have...
Mauubusan na ng palusot.
Ba't mo iboboto ang taong hindi mo madepensa?
Yun na nga eh. Yun na nga.
Yeah, di ba?
Di mga yung
Tapos
sugat
hindi
dun sa
mo
kamay,
alam.
nalipat sa kabila.
Correct. Tama. Hindi,
Wala
tsaka
daw silang
kitang-kita
dapat
mo.
ipaliwanag. Yun ang sagot lang doon, Bob.
Kitang-kita mo na
Oo nga.
nandidiri sila. Nandidiri siya sa mga taong supposedly fans daw niya.
Oo.
Diba? Na ayaw, ginaganyan yung kamay, naalis
Wasiwas.
ng ganyan.
Pinawasiwas.
Yes! You know, my gosh, naalala ko, never akong tumakbo, pero can you imagine, naalala ko nung time na pumunta kami ng Raon. Yun ang part nung,
Sa Quiapo.
yung, di ba that's part of it pag may 45 ka. Hindi
Oo.
kalibre hindi yung 45 na kalibre 45. Ito yung 45 na plaka.
Single.
Single, di ba? Pag may bago kang single,
Side A and side B.
correct. Kailangan mo
Yung may
pumunta
malaking
ng
butas.
Raon. Oh, you have to go to Raon. And you
Bakit?
have to, because all the fans go there, that's where they buy 45s.
Yes.
In Raon. Yes.
So, pipirma ka doon?
Yeah, lahat kami may mga yung 2x2 na parang passport pero yun yung picture mo na glamour picture. Doon mo the night before nag-o-autograph ka na yung ano mo para kasi ang gagawin ng mga kasama mo, gaganinin yung picture mo. Tapos dun ako nakaranas nung ang daming tao, yung nandito na yung mga mukha nila.
Mukha nila.
Tapos naka ganyan ka sa parang bodyguard mo, nasa harap mo. You've got your arms around them because ang mga bastos sa crowd, minsan gagawin, aanuhin ka, they'll fill you up.
Mananansing.
Yeah, they make chancing. Pero I also remember the people who would come really close to you, pipinch ka talaga. Kukurutin ka. Tapos minsan magkakaroon talaga kami ng wounds. But never, ever kami gumanyan. Ever, never. You shake their hands, you hug them. These are your fans.
Yeah.
Right? These are people who like
although ginagawa ka ng lechon dahil kinukurot-kurot ka na, no?
Okay ka lang, di ba?
Nanggigigil lang yun. Nanggigigil lang sa inyo.
Yeah, so cute nakukutan sila.
Oo, nakukutan.
And you know, I've seen screaming fans, they're crying when you sing. You know, it's a fantastic feeling, you know, but you can only give them yourself that way, no? Through your music, so it's the same even in politics. You have to be sincere. You have to, and you have to be straight with your fans who will be voting for you.
Sinceridad, di ba? Sincerity.
Yeah. Now, well, ngayon parang it's not I don't know. I could be wrong, pero I've heard a lot of younger people say, I don't care about sincerity, you know, I have my own way of making decisions and I don't want to have colors, I don't want to believe in, you know, in the end, hello, you won't be able, that's part of life, right? You won't be able to escape that. You can't escape that. Yeah.
Okay. Final word, Leah, bago tayo tuloy ang magpaalam. And just to bring it in, ang sarap ng discussion, sana mas mahaba. Pero we're short.
I also have, fast time flies.
Oo. Bago
well, maybe
with Nonong.
I hope you can make it happen. Text ko siya.
We're trying our best.
Ask Mike. He's his own brother. So, yeah. But Bob and Teddy, I'd really like to thank you. Maraming salamat sa chance na ito, sa panahon na we spent together. A good, solid 2 hours of talking about, thank God, not just about myself. We were able to make everybody, you know, who would have touched my life and our lives. It was good to reminisce about them. And what I hope for is, you know, like my songs, kailangan namin ang boto ninyo sa May 9. I don't care if they will get mad at me, but I want you to vote, please. Vote for the people who I really believe will change our lives for the better, okay? Not just because we wear pink or, for me, that's not as important as knowing, I know in my heart, Leni Robredo is going to be one of our best presidents.
Ever.
Kiko Pangilinan will be an excellent vice president. And you need a partner like that if you want to try and shorten, you know, the solution time that we need to fix our problems. And of course, there's senatorial slate. So for me, I'd like you to please vote for Risa Ontiveros, Laila De Lima, Sunny Trillanes, Chel Diokno,
Bagilat.
Sunny Matula, Teddy Pagdilat, and that's it for me.
Well said.
Well said. Okay.
Thank you.
Mabuhay.
And thank you. So, till we see each other again.
Yes.
But dadagdag ko pa dun sa sinabi ni Dia, sana yung boto natin, bantayan natin. Kasi we don't really know the guys who count it now at saka how it's going to be counted. That's strange to me, but I hope it won't be strange come May. Yeah.
Well,
Ted? Yes.
You know what happened the last time they miscounted. You know what happened
Yeah.
when they miscounted the votes. So if they
Nasipa.
don't want to have revolutions begin, they have to count things correct.
Okay.
Take
Ganda.
care, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Saludo.
Ah,
Saludo.
saranghe.
Oo.
Thank you
Watashi
very
wa
much.
anato ashimasu.
Kamsahamnida.
Oo.
Meron kami, last may Korean version kasi kami talaga ng Isang Mundo, Isang Awit. Because we
Okay.
brought it to Korea. It's
Yeah.
Nanundang Sunal Saranghapnida.
Yes, I
That
heard
is
that
the
too.
I love you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, let us love the world. Glory to Ukraine.
Yeah, that too.
We must always, always love. Love comes first. Okay. Thanks, guys. You
Thanks.
Thank you,
take
Leah.
care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Ladies and
Bob.
gentlemen.
Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, boomers, for
Our
listening.
honor. The honor is ours.
A
Yeah,
pleasure
sa
for
amin po.
me. Thank you. Thank you. Ngat.
Gracias. Thank you.
Okay,
Darara.
Bob. Maraming
Ted?
salamat. Napakapalad po natin at nakapanayam natin sa loob ng 2 oras si Miss Leah
Leah.
Navarro.
At salamat din sa BioFresh Socks and Underwear. At pati na rin kay Mr. Roy Ordiales ng Design Makati para sa
Design
aming mga
Makati.
saplot.
Okay.
Lalim na Tagalog, no? Galing kay Danny Javier pa yung saplot sa Pedro shirts
Oo.
niya.
Oo.
Anyway, this has been a very enlightening discussion we had with Miss Leah Navarro. And as Teddy mentioned, the honor is ours. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Boomers Banquet. Tandaan, gamitin ang utak, mag-research, at bumoto ng tama at bantayan yung boto. Okay? Have a nice day, everyone. Ciao!